I'm Anne Bull. I was the national chair from 2013 through to the following year till 2014, around about Christmas time. I took a little bit of extra time to help Carrie Ann, who was the next chair. I heard about LACA through my ex-boss, who unfortunately died. He actually set up the LACA Welsh region with Pat Fellows, who was the chair between 2004 2006. And he took me over to LACA Welsh regional meetings, but he was the Welsh chair. But unfortunately, he died in post. And so I've just felt that as part of his legacy, I wanted to carry on and carried on with the Welsh region. Thankfully, my colleagues in Wales voted me on to be the chair, and then I went on to the board. So it's through sad circumstances, but happy outcomes. And I'm sure that's what he would wanted me to do. LACA's given me such fantastic opportunities, and it helped me in the workplace as well. I can remember one of the editors of one of the magazines actually interviewed me when I was chair and said I was an iron lady with a velvet glove, and I never forgot that. And I suppose that did sum me up because I am determined, and I think you have to be when you're in national chair. You've got such a great team, and you couldn't do it without the team. You're just the voice of LACA. You're the head person people sees, but you've got a mass team behind you, and I think that was the teamwork is something that I took to the workplace as well. I had a great day job team, and I couldn't have done the job without it. So I think that's one of the things I was grateful for. I had lots of experiences. I was the one that had the horse meat scare, and that was very, very unfortunate for both the domestic market, but also for us. And I learned a lot about media. And I know Hazel Green, who was working with us then in LACA, actually wanted me on the breakfast sofa. And I said, no, I'll go to the BBC Wales studios. It's far near, and I didn't have to get up at the crack of dawn to get up to Manchester. And you're on the spot and having to do the interviews as chairs. And when it came about the horse meat, I was feeling quite strongly that it wasn't just affecting the domestic market, it was us. And I just said the word, well, we're victims like everybody else. And I didn't realise the word victim is one of those things that goes across all the media. And my sister-in-law rang me on the way home from the BBC studios and said, your voice has come over in breakfast time on the radio too, in her house, So you learn an awful lot. And I'm taking so much from that I so much enjoy the opportunities I was given as from LACA. And I have taken it in my own personal place. You have to be a very good timekeeper. You have to be very patient and tolerant, and work together with the people. And you mustn't forget the people. We wouldn't have jobs and we wouldn't have the business without the people. And I've learned so much from that. And I still am involved with that, with the project I'm doing. So the staff and the workforce meant so much to me as the national chair, and I hope I carry on with that. I had a big challenge taking on the mantle of national chair. The school food plan had just been announced, and so I worked with John Vincent and Henry Dimbleby on behalf of LACA. I was on the expert panel representing LACA of putting the school food plan together, and then we worked with them to actually implement the workforce standards and the food standards. So that was a big challenge because that was very new to all of us in LACA, to have food standards and all this again. So it was keeping the balls up in the air, shall I say, to try and keep the balance and to work together with people and to do a bit of influencing and persuasion. And that was a big challenge, yes, but enjoyable. I have lots of wonderful memories of working in LACA, but I think probably the one that perhaps would stick in my mind most was for National School Meals Week in the year I was chair. And I was being taken from different studios, and we worked with Tetra then, although they're now, it's come out as Oak Hill, but it was Tetra in those days. And Andrew sort of arranged these different appointments. Hadn't told me that we had to go from one studio to another to do the radio interviews. And the girls in the audience will know how we feel. I had the high heels on. Now, if he'd said that we had to go from A to B in half an hour on the tube and not have to run down the road, I think things would have been a bit different. But let's just say that running in heels to try and get to a studio and look composed was not easy. And I think from that day on, he always used to say to me, you know, you're going to need your running shoes next week, Anne, because we're going from A to B, you know. But the first time, it was hilarious. We laughed and laughed. And obviously I was involved with Arnold Fuel on that particular one. And I know I arrived with broken heel at one point in the BBC broadcasting house. And Arnold and I were just crying with laughing because I was hobbling around with half a heel, and I had to call in to Marks and Spencer to get a pair of shoes to go home.